Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cams rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to Hank's Think Tank. Been a while since we've been in here, but I'm glad to be back. Been real busy. Local elections, forums, a bunch of stuff going on, and you guys are pretty much aware of that. Anyway, got a great guy in here today, and he is from the city of Shenandoah. I have Gary Henson. He is running for Shenandoah City Council position number 1, and he's running against incumbent Ron Raymaker. Good afternoon. How are you? Good to have you in.
Well, I'm doing very well. Thank you, Hank, for allowing me to come.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to have new people in and get these things going. I know you've got an election and you've got early voting going on right now.
That's correct.
Yeah, so we'll just jump right in.
All right.
So what made you decide to run again? Because I know you were a council member before.
Yes. What made me decide to run again was attending a few meetings and deciding that we needed to have some fresh eyes and fresh ideas going on in city council. I was not happy with some of the decisions that the current council has made, and I wasn't happy with the decorum that was going on and the accomplishments. And the spending, of course, is always an issue, right?
Yeah, especially with small cities like that, spending's always going to be a big issue. Now, I know that you've served before, so how many terms did you serve before?
I did serve 3 terms,
Okay.
2010 to 2016.
Okay. What position was that?
Position 1.
Position 1? Great. Yeah. So you're running for the same old seat again.
I am.
Oh, that's good. Okay. And do you have any additional qualifications that would make you especially great for this job again?
Well, I think so. I guess it's a matter of opinion, but I did serve in the Vietnam War era.
Okay.
As in the Army, and I certainly did like everybody else, in that time. And then I've also been former pastor for about 25 years. And then I've, of course, been in sales and a number of other things, but primarily just ministering and counseling. I'm a marriage counselor. I've been counseling marriages for 30-plus years.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes you a really well-rounded individual. And that, that's really what we need.
Yes.
And a lot of people may not know really what a councilman does. So can you explain just a little bit about what a city councilman does?
Absolutely.
Okay.
City councilman's primary responsibility is fiduciary or financial in making decisions, with the other 4 city councilmen that are seated there. So I'm 1 vote out of 5 technically, okay. But we gather twice a month and make those decisions. Agenda comes out and we vote on issues, we vote on primarily financial decisions that we're making for the current and for the future.
So in essence, you help the administrative office run the city.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
That's a good deal. Okay. And we just discussed your career background a little bit, so I'm going to skip on that. And you said you were seated on council before. What years was that?
2010 to 2016.
Okay, fantastic. So I know that things evolve and change on a continual basis, especially in small cities. So what are the leading issues that you think are going on right now? The things that the average taxpayer guy is going, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think the number one issue for everyone in Montgomery County and certainly for Shenandoah is the increase in property values that have gone up over the last few years and the increase in taxes on those properties. So if your value goes up and your rate goes up as well, your tax rate, then obviously you're going to be paying a much bigger check than you were last year.
Yeah, that's true. And, I'm getting a lot, actually, it's been a hot topic of conversation lately, especially here in East County.
Yes.
Our taxes have gone through the roof. And I can understand that we have needs in this county, and I can understand the money's got to be there to do certain things, but you can't tax people out of their homes.
I agree.
And so we've got to get a handle on it somewhere. And I know that recently we passed a proposition about eliminating taxes, at least for this part, over the next 10 years. I don't know if it's made it to the House or if it'll make it through or what the deal is.
There's a couple of constitutional amendments in this election. It's statewide, and it's about the reduction of, or actually an additional deduction for your homestead exemption. It goes up from $25,000 to $40,000.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's just the increase in the homestead exemption.
yes,
right?
correct.
Yeah, for ad valorem taxes, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other one is simply if you're 65 plus and you're disabled, or you're disabled, and it would lower the school tax portion of their bill in future years.
Right.
So they're putting a cap on what school districts can do.
Okay. Yeah, and the school district taxes is the bulk of the new increases, I think.
It is.
You know, and I'm thinking a lot of that is just an extension of the explosive growth that we've had. So has Shenandoah experienced as much growth as the rest of the county?
Well, we have a land problem, so we're not experiencing perhaps as much as the rest of the county because we don't have the land to build on and build new subdivisions on.
Okay.
But we're pretty packed, and obviously there have been some multi-level apartments, multi-residential. We've got a brand new apartment complex that's gone in. It'll hold around 400 people, and so some people like that and some people don't. So, as a city that likes to protect itself, hopefully they won't overbuild when going up.
Yeah, hopefully not. So is there anything in your ETJ y'all can annex in the next few years?
There's a number of properties that we could look at in ETJ, but the new law states that the people that live in that ETJ get to vote on whether they want to
Right.
be annexed or not. So those are things that could happen over the next 10 years, but we'll just have to wait and see because it's also very expensive to annex a piece of property.
And it really is because you got to provide city services and
That's
such.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah, but Shenandoah is going to grow.
There's
I can
no
see
doubt,
it,
no
yeah.
doubt about it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other leading issues besides just taxation and growth?
Well, I believe there are a few more leading issues. One of the issues is about permit processing or permitting. Shenandoah's been in a city for 48 years. I don't know if you knew that. And as a result, a lot of the older homes, including one of mine, I've been there 32 years in the city. And so last year, I totally remodeled from top to bottom.
Okay.
We even had to move out because we were taking it down to the studs. And we put an investment. Being there 32 years doesn't mean I'm getting ready to leave tomorrow. It only seems the remodel for me is a commitment to stay as long as I live.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Sure.
I raised my 5 children there, and now I'm getting to see my grandchildren come over and enjoy our time together. So I think that the reason that I'm talking about that is because the people are coming in and they're remodeling. They're either remodeling partially or wholly, and ultimately there could be a situation that would come up where they would simply come down. The property is going to be worth so much that they'll cut down those houses, put 2 lots together, and put bigger houses in.
Wow.
You know how that goes.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like University Place in
Right.
Houston.
And in the Heights,
And
same
in the
thing.
Heights, exactly.
Yeah, same thing happened. But back to permitting again.
Permitting. The process is for some, it's rather difficult. I didn't have a problem. I don't know if it's because I was familiar with the city and with its requirements, but I know that for some, especially if they're not a contractor and they don't know exactly what it takes, they seem to have issues and in inspections and in the actual process itself.
Right.
So I believe that could be improved. I'm not saying that they haven't made improvements over the years. They certainly have, and I give them credit for that. But there's always making it a little easier for the resident and for the homeowner. And I believe that could be done by both education and a simplified process.
Yeah, I like that. So basically, you would kind of analyze it and see if you could streamline it a bit.
Exactly.
And then maybe hold some town hall meetings or something and discuss the best way to go about permitting.
Absolutely. And we've got qualified people in the city that could help us even do that.
Yeah.
One of my focuses is to get more residents involved. I believe very strongly that my job is I'm accountable as a city councilman to the residents, to the voters, and they are my top priority.
Absolutely. Yeah, and an involved city is a happy city too, believe it or not. Most people don't think so, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get people involved and all of a sudden you've got a happier, cohesive community. So
I agree.
I like it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about long-term goals. So being that, you're kind of landlocked, but you do have an expandable ETJ, and then we have so much growth here as it is, what would be the long-term goals for a city like that?
Well, it would be, I guess, part of the tackling of the traffic issues and traffic problem. You know, we're a unique situation in that we're divided by I-45, which is a TxDOT or Texas Department of Transportation road, and then we also have 3 county commissioners that are attached to our city. So
You have 3 commissioners?
3 county commissioners that
Wow.
have pieces of the city.
And what precincts are those? I know one's 2, right?
31, and I don't know what the other number is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough. Yeah.
So you have to bring those people together. You
Sure.
have to have a focus group or a, what would you call it? Just a gathering of the minds. You got to get the state involved. You got to get HGA involved. You know, they've been a big part of. You know, I attended meetings back when I was in my first term with HGA and the TxDOT people, and so it has to be done. And people need to be also involved in that. The residents need to be advised and need to have put input into the traffic situation.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, and that sounds like a good idea too. All right. So how can voters learn a little bit more about Gary Henson?
Well, I guess the number one, you can call me anytime.
Great.
You choose to. My number is 832-326-0708.
Okay.
And I'd love to talk to any resident of Shenandoah. I don't think one neighborhood is better than another. I want to talk to each and every one that's possible. And my focus will be the residents and for them to get to know me and me to get to know them and their issues and what's important to them.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, I appreciate you coming in. And
My pleasure.
even though we had a short conversation, I think it was really good. And again, every time I do one of these, I learn something.
Yeah.
So I learned something today, and I appreciate it.
One other issue.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Whatever you got.
One other issue that I would like to talk about is the decorum in the city council meetings.
Okay.
It seems to have deteriorated and I don't know how long because I haven't attended for the last number of years. But over the last year, I have attended, and I noticed that the decorum has fallen a bit. I know in January of 2021, the city council revamped the city council meeting procedures.
Okay.
And kind of beefed up a little bit the process of everybody walking in a kinder, gentler way with the residents and anyone who come to the mic to speak. But there seems to be, just an air of disagreement, shall we say,
Okay.
that happens when people come up to the mic. If you don't agree with them, then sometimes there's difficulty in what they might respond back. Now, technically, they're not supposed to, but the decorum that we're looking for is simply a welcoming, a kindness, and a professional decorum from the bench as well as from the audience.
Absolutely, because you want your citizens there.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and I think a lot of citizens don't understand that going to the city council meetings is a big, big deal
Yeah.
because it gives you insight as to what's going on, insight as to what the future may look like for the city that you live in.
Yes.
And it also helps to educate you on things like permitting and things like that.
I feel like the city also can improve their spending habits. Over the last 6 years, they've gone up an average of 8.74% in spending. So that's over a 5 or 6 year period that gets up there around a 45-50% increase. And so the cost of living rate's only like 3 point something, or maybe around 4 at times. But if you're spending that much money per year, I'm not saying there aren't needs and there aren't things to address, but I just think we can streamline some of that and cut some of those costs, and excessive spending is what I'm going to call it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I think you're on the right track. And I think it's important that people run for positions such as this. So I appreciate you sticking your neck out to do it. So because it's always a thing going out there and putting yourself out in the public. You opening yourself up to scrutiny and things like that.
Yes, you asked me about why I did this, and I've given you an answer, but I had to think long and hard, to be honest with you, because it's a public position and there are a lot of requirements. You have to be available to people. You have to be willing to talk and to hear those you agree with and those you disagree with.
Right.
And so I decided that I was qualified at least to listen.
You go.
One philosopher stated it this way. Let me see if I can quote it for you. He said, "The quieter you are, the better you listen."
Absolutely, and that's true. Who was that? Do you know?
Ram Dass.
Ram Dass.
Yeah.
Okay, Fantastic. Well, once again, I appreciate you having you in, and it's been a good talk.
Thank you.
I wish you luck in your campaign. Now, and early voting is going on right now.
Early voting's going on right now at the library in the Woodlands off of Lake Robbins Road, it's next to the library. It's in the community center,
Okay.
which is off of Lake Robbins Road across from HEB. I know most people know where it's at, but they'll be able to vote today and tomorrow till 5. They'll be able to vote Monday from 7 and Tuesday from 7 to 7 on early voting, and then the actual voting times is Saturday, it's the 7th of May.
That's right.
From 7 to 7.
Okay, and will you be at the polling location on Saturday?
I certainly will.
Well, there you go.
All day long.
There you go. Well, there you have it, guys. And you can meet this gentleman at the polling location before you go cast a vote for who? Gary Henson. So get out there and vote. It's important. Be a part of the process. Be a part of what we call America. It's really a good thing.
Yes.
And come on out, meet this guy, talk to him, ask him some questions. Make sure that his ideas line up with yours. If they do, you know how to cast that ballot. I'm Hank Vatt. This is Hank's Think Tank, and thanks for watching, and we're out.